will of Nigeria towards progress. We will be speaking with Prince Adewale Adebayo, a sound legal practitioner, a media mogul, and one who has been able through his businesses change the lives of many. He will be telling us what the vision is and why we should change some things so we can make progress as a nation. Good evening, sir.
It's a pleasure. Happy to have you here.
Sir, Nigeria actually has been experiencing misinformed and uninformed population when it comes to voting. With your candidature and your leadership experience, how do you intend to change that so we will have better choices made?
Okay, well, I will tell you that it is not that Nigerians are misinformed. If you go to where Nigerians are, in their places of work, in their homes, motor parks, where they read newspapers, wherever Nigerians are gathered, Nigerians are highly intelligent people. They're not misinformed, they're only disillusioned. Because from what they know of what's going on in the country and the picture that people in government are and in the political parties are painting, I rather say that it is the people in government that are misinformed. So a typical man on the street of Dara has more information today about the state of the country than President Buhari, who is in the villa. Because that person knows the price of rice, gari, he knows the difficulty of taking his goods to the market and the checkpoints and bandits that he has to deal with. So Nigerians know the cost of school fees, they know the state of medical care in the country. So there isn't anything going on in the country that they don't know. They might not know the cause, but they know the effects. They see the evidence. So what has happened is that as a result of these bad outcomes, Nigerians have gotten disillusioned. So majority will not even bother to go and vote. Some will not even register at all. And those who are active voters might say, well, what difference does it make if I try to look for a needle in a haystack? If I'm saying, let me make a choice between typhoid and malaria, there's no point. Both are bad fevers. So if you're asking them to choose, which is what we have been doing since 1999, choose between a very bad party and an equally bad party, a very bad candidate and equally bad candidate, then they don't come out. And those who come out just say, okay, this whole thing looks like a scam anyway. I might as well just collect money and feed myself for today, because I'm not going to see these guys anymore for the next 4 years. So, of course, there has been cases, there have been attempts in the past by a few people to make a difference. Ganova ran, Odumegu Ojukwu ran, a few people have run, but there have not been an attempt to reach every voter. Many of them are running on signature issues. They are running just to say a few things to the public, to remind us of what democracy should be like. But this time around, we are fighting for the ballot in every polling unit. We are taking the battle to every ward. So this is the first time, in my reckoning, that Nigerian people will say, okay, yes, I know the issues very well. I saw candidates very well, and I've zeroed my mind on the candidate that speaks to the issue the way I see it. But you need to reach our people. And Nigeria is a vast country. Given the state of our infrastructure, it's not really a big country, but with parlous infrastructure, with insecurity, with lack of power supply to reach most people, no good roads. So it's a lot of work to reach everyone, but we'll reach everyone and we'll make a difference.
Very many Nigerian politicians will actually lean on two major parties, either the PDP or the APC. But in one of your responses, you mentioned their foundations are not what you're proud to. Will that not be suicidal? Or is there a different approach that you're very, very sure will change the narrative? And the third force we've been looking for will come to that.
You cannot do the same thing all the time. and not be satisfied with the outcome and continue to do that same thing. So, Nigerians, including those who are members of PDP, including those who are members of APC, including those who are even at lower levels in government, know that they are doing the wrong thing. Those who are in the leadership of the country know that they are doing the wrong thing. So many people are staying there just for the occupancy benefits. They know it's the wrong direction. So I don't have a difficulty in turning away from what is wrong. I do not have a difficulty in turning away from what is going the wrong direction. I do not have a difficulty in testing new grounds, because I believe that the beauty of democracy is the choice that it comes with. I grew up under military rule, and I had no voice or choice as to who will be my commander-in-chief. I would just hear a cool announcement and the post-military administrators everywhere. We had nothing we could do about it. But since 1999, we've had a chance to choose. At the beginning, we were not given enough options. But we have come of age now. We can give ourselves options. We are the people who are of the age to rule. So we cannot say that because we were not given options in the past, we should continue not giving ourselves options. So we decided now, the APC, which was conceived in 2014, was merely an artifice to just collect power. And they are stuck with the power, no responsibility, no competence of what to do with it, and no clear intention to recruit the best in the country because they are enjoying the power without performing the function. PDP is the reason we have APC. PDP was ruling for 16 years and they were getting worse every year. And their behavior suggested to Nigerians that if you let them continue, there will be no country left. So it is because of PDP's non-performance that we went through APC. So we can't go back to the PDP, because if you are run into by a bad driver and the bad driver breaks your leg and you are taken to the orthopedic hospital, even though the orthopedic doctor appears now to be a scam himself, you are not going to go to the next hospital with the same driver. So the injury that led us to Buhari was caused by Jonathan and PDP and all of that. Now people rally around and thought that APC would give us relief. APC is giving us worse. Now what do? We create a third option. That's basically logical. If you have to choose between an armed robber or a rapist, you don't say, well, let me be choosing between. You say, no, that's a false dilemma. Why are you giving all the wrong choices? What of a decent person over there? And that's what we're trying to do. There is nothing complicated about it. If you are going to the left, you see bandits. You're going to the right, you see Boko Haram. You run to the bush and create a new pathway. You cannot say, well, I have to choose one of the two. You don't have to.
So, domestic judicial mechanism in Nigeria have had low impact in protecting human rights in this country. As one who is experienced, what should change and how do we change the narrative?
The primary protector of human rights is not the judiciary. So when you want to protect human rights, you don't start from the judiciary. You start from the home. People should be able to have a decent domestic life, decent family life, free from violence, forced marriages, starvations, and all sorts of atrocities. Children should be safe and live in safe communities. Now, after that, you go to the government. Governmental institutions should treat people with respect. So medical practitioners should give equal access to medical care. Government services should serve you. The police should be your servant. not your brutalizer, then it's only when all of these things have failed, or any of them has failed, you now go to the judiciary for redress. In a good society where human rights has taken root, people don't go to court. Because right from the airport, the person who is admitting you to that country is already applying human rights to you. And if you were born there, right from you being in the room, the law is already protecting you from violence against the mother who is pregnant with that child, from pharmaceutical companies who are giving medicine to the mother to see that that child is not harmed. So, till when you are born, you have your right. If you are born in a hospital and there's a little injury to your finger or whatever, they pay your parents compensation on your behalf. So when you are in school, you are treated with care and you are treated with dignity. And you are given your marks or merit. There's no lecturer trying to harass you. And when you go into a workplace, the workplace is conducive to you. When you work, you are paid. When you need promotion, you are given. There's nobody who is terrorizing you. The people in human resources are trained on how to respect human rights of workers. And if you are, whatever gender you are, whatever religion you are protected. You don't have to sleep with your boss to get promotion or to get your pay. So all of this ecosystem is what becomes human rights. So, but in our environment, even a military regime that beats people up every day sets up a human rights commission and puts somebody in charge of human rights. And in the office of the human rights commission, even the workers sometimes they have their salaries delayed. And they have the director general of the human rights commission goes home in official cars, and the drivers are standing by the road, the workers standing there being beaten by the rain to look for transport to go home. So that's right there. Recently you noticed that judicial workers went on strike for several months. If they could not get justice from inside judiciary, if you forget about workers, recently the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Onoge, went to court to say his human right was abused. So if the human right of the Chief Justice of Nigeria was abused or alleged to be abused, the mere suggestion that the Chief Justice of Nigeria can go to court to say he was denied fair hearing on human rights, what does that tell you? It tells you that we've not really been sincere about the whole thing. Human rights is a culture. It's not an office. And that culture is where we need to develop. And it's something that in my government I will look at letting people know that human rights orientation is very much important.
So, in Nigerian and political space, yes, the term youth is used to define immaturity and inexperience.
Yes.
As a third forthcoming, I believe you actually been working with a lot of youths.
Yes.
And you've gotten feedbacks. How do you intend to make better use of the youth and put them in the right direction in your government?
Well, I mean, maybe I'm no longer a youth because I became 50 years old 3 weeks ago, but majority of my life I think I'm a youth. I still think like a youth. I think that a youth is not a child. Of course, children are youths, but it's not every youth as a child. So there is no immaturity attached to being a youth. Most responsible positions in the country are held by youths. You put youth in the police with a gun in their hand, they have the discretion to shoot or not to shoot. They have the power to kill or not to kill. So that's a very high responsibility. You put youths in charge of airplanes, they fly all over the world. You put youths in charge of healthcare. Most nurses are youths. And so youths are in very serious position. In this country, we've had heads of state that became heads of state in their youthful age, and we have now someone who is older than the country as president. So what difference has it made? It shows that wisdom and age are not usually proportional, and they are not inverse either. It's that, for me, from my experience, I have businesses, I have law office, I have other assets that's 99% in the hand of young people, and they've lived up to the responsibility. What makes a difference between the youth, what they call the youth in Nigeria, and someone who say he has a lot of experience? What he's telling the youth is that I've had more opportunity than you. Because the difference between the youth and the so-called adult experienced people is just opportunity. So when you were young, you were given opportunities from which you develop a lot of experiences. There is no difference between me going for office now and President Buhari, because before he got to my age, he had already become a head of state. So if he's looking at me now and say I'm a youth, that would be unfair and irresponsible to say, because President Buhari was already a president at my age. Tito for Obasanjo, then Murtala Mohammed before him, Gawan before him, Balewa. So it's a no-brainer that the youth should be the one to lead. And with respect to Nigerian youths, I don't need to tell them. They know where they are going. If you look at the behavior of the youth today, they want a beautiful country that looks better than the one they see on TV. They have peers all over the world that they meet online, and they see what they go through. They want to see that they don't have an inferior experience in life than the one they are seeing online. They go to school online. They know the quality of teaching. They know that while lecturers are selling handouts here, in other countries, their colleagues don't face that kind of experience. They know how police will treat you in Europe, and they don't want to be treated anyhow by the police here. They know the career paths to follow. Nigerians are into cryptocurrency, they're into digital economy. So they have where they are going. But my role is to make sure that the government stops standing between the youth and their goal. It is not that I'm going to tell the youth where to go, they know where to go already. But the old order, the status quo, stands between the youth and their future. And that is what I'm coming to stop.
So, it's no... is how we manage our elections here. You're coming with a knowledge-based kind of campaign, which is educating people for a new norm. What strategy are you employing, and how far do you think this will go in making you the president of Nigeria?
Nigerians are not interested in money politics. Majority of Nigerians are not in politics, period. And the politicians create the politics that they want. A lot of times, the politicians use money to entice people to follow their own politics. Because other than that money, they themselves have nothing to offer. They have no ideas, programs, and policies and vision that they can sell to the people. And people will come out and follow them. But leadership is not always political. You have moral leadership, you have religious leadership, you have technical leadership. And if you look at how Nigerians respond to other leaders, you will see that Nigerians don't necessarily require you to bribe them before they follow you. Nigerians go to churches and mosques, contribute their own money. They spend money to travel long distances. Nigerians go as far as going to Mecca for prayer. They go to Jerusalem. They go to Redeem Camp. They go to anything you create where you say, I want to lead you out of your problem to the promised land. They will donate money, they will follow you. Why are they not asking their pastors to give them money before they attend church? If you have an event in your hometown, however remote it is, your Nigerian friend who believes in you will take Ashwabi, will take transport and come there just to be in solidarity with you. You can spend 3 days. It doesn't matter if even their relative lost their life in similar venture 10 years ago. They will say, no, I cannot miss that wedding. I cannot miss this event. I cannot miss this graduation. If Nigerians believe in you, they will follow you. But what you cannot do is steal Nigeria people's money and then still scam them that you are their leader. No, they are going to say you can't have it both ways. So, if you are a thief and you made all this money and you are looking for a higher ladder to steal higher money, then I might as well just collect something from you. Others will say, I don't want to have anything to do with you, don't come near me. So, what we are doing, we are not having the same audience as they are having, we are not selling the same product. We are selling hope to the people. And Nigerians need this hope. It is not me coming to inspire Nigerians for a change. It is Nigerians inspiring me for a change, because they've been crying, they've been lamenting. When Nigeria will tell you this government is a scam, what are they saying to you? They are saying that we don't want this type of government. When they say, oh, this audio government, audio benefits, audio infrastructure, all these subtle languages that they are using is to tell you that what we have in the caricature of a government is not what we desire. And they would want someone to come out and actually give them a pathway to a proper government. So anywhere you go and people ask you for money in politics, what they are saying to you is, we don't believe in you. It is not that they are not capable of believing, but in you particularly, you haven't convinced them. Because when you convince them, and if you look at it, people just slander Nigerians anyhow. Muhammadu Buhari, who is there now, had no money. His neighbors knew he had no money. Nigerians knew he had no money. He even said famously that he had no money to buy the party's form. But Nigerians were walking in the sun, in the rain, trekking distances to go and be at his rally. Now, the mistake he made was to gather majority of the thieves in Nigeria and ask them to accompany him on the journey. So they were supplying aircraft, they were putting adverts, they were buying clothes for him, they were doing all sorts of things that he didn't need. If Buhari had spent 1% of the money APC spent, he would still have won the election anyway, because people believe in the candidature. But he decided, out of, I don't know what his problem was, I still don't know what his problems are now. He decided to carry every available looter to go with him. So someone will pay for his form. He never asked them, I served in the army, I retired as a head of state. How can you have more money than me, if you are honest? Anything I cannot afford as a former military head of state, how are you able to afford it? So people will give him jets. He will travel in those jets. He will not ask. I was once a governor of a whole region, which is the northeast, which includes Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, Taraba, and Gombe also. How could I not be able to afford this jet? And you are governor of one state, you are able to afford it. I was petroleum minister. I could not afford to buy these cars you buy for the campaign. How are you able to afford it? He refused to ask those questions. Up till now, he refuses to ask relevant questions. So it is not Nigerians who ask the APC to go and get all the thieves together and contribute money. It is they themselves who needed that they needed to do something to blackmail Buhari into believing that will help you to get there. So it's now, if I make the same mistake that Buhari is making, thinking that all Nigerians cannot do without money, then I go from door to all those who are causing the problem, and I say, give me your money so that I can convince Nigerian people. Then they will lock me up in this villa and make sure that they collect their money 10,000 times over before they release me. So that is the problem of Nigerian politics and money. Nigerians don't need to follow money politics, but they need to understand the politics of money and to see that they don't get bought and sold while they are still sitting at home.
So, a country's international partnership is a strategic alliance with a bonus of knowledge transfer, competitive enhancement, and job creation.
Yes.
We have failed as a nation because the index has shown improper use of those tools. Your government, if we, God willing, you enter, what will you do differently and how will you get us out of this moribund contracts that has put us in this mess?
Okay. Foreign relations is a projection of domestic national interest. So it's the same relationship you have with your neighbor. Normally you will stay in your house. But if there is a problem of electricity in your neighborhood, it's a problem of insecurity, or anything that requires you to go out of your house and negotiate with your neighbor, or if there's something you want that your neighbor has, then you go out and talk to your neighbor in your own interest. That's how it is for a country as well. A country's primary responsibility is to be a good country in its own right and to solve its problems domestically. But there is no autarky. There is no country that's an island. So you make friends internationally and you have alliances and allegiances. And these relationships will be measured by how well they enhance your domestic agenda. Now, what we have been suffering with governments is that the domestic agenda has not been clear. So now, those who are our leadership or rulership, they make international friends for self-perpetuation. So they take loans they're not supposed to take because they have legitimacy problem, and they want to make friends with those who are in charge of those institutions. They mismanage the public revenue, and the treasury is usually in dire stress. So they do diplomacy of borrowing. They go to places not where the welfare of the people will be better enhanced. They go to places where they can get easy terms for loans. They also don't understand how to enhance power from within. So they go into many alliances with outsiders. So that is the nature of what we are facing. My administration is not going to shut down Nigeria and we do like what Muhammadu Buhari did in 1984, close all the borders, and he did recently. No. What we're going to do is to look at the maximization and optimization of the capacities that we have at home. First, if you're able to feed your people at home, which by nature and by God and by all the talent we have, we can do easily. You're able to feed your people at home. You're able to create full employment at home. You have the capacity to inspire Nigerians to take care of our borders if you are putting patriotic, hardworking, meritocratic leadership in the services, the military service, armed services, in the police, in the foreign ministry and the relevant agencies. If you are sending ambassadors who are going out to market Nigeria, not just to enhance their own career, because in many instances, people even lobby and pay money to get an ambassadorial position. Genuflect and follow people up and down because they don't want to retire below the ambassadorial level because of the benefit that comes with it. So we are this lack of competencies, character and charisma that makes our leader to be at the mercy of foreign interests. And you remember that one of the most salient and most sacred oaths that the president will take, which I will take once elected, is that you are going to protect Nigeria against enemies, foreign and domestic. So it is not me saying it. It is a collective realization of our founding fathers and enshrined as a memory in our constitution. Nigeria as a country, like any other human, like any other living thing, Nigeria as a living being, has enemies from within, has enemies outside. And the commander-in-chief's responsibility is to see that in being advised in constitutional government, I do not insinuate and embed enemies of the country in the State House. And if you look around what is happening to us, you'll see that mostly we fail in that in every government that we form, the enemies of Nigeria have the first right of refusal to get the best appointment. And so when they are there, they're self-serving. If you ask them, are you an enemy of Nigeria? They will say, no, I'm not an enemy of Nigeria. But if you look at their decision making, the choices they make, you will see that it's an enemy of Nigeria, whether he knows it or is being used. Now, secondly, internationally,
Nigeria is like a beautiful bride that people see her beauty. Even when she's rolling in the mud, they know that this one is a superstar. And for those who think that Nigeria will be a competition, either regionally or globally, in terms of security, in terms of providing leadership to African people, in terms of even having peace and prosperity, and Nigerians can become dominant players in the global economy. So they can feel like containing Nigeria is in the interest of their country. And you cannot blame them that they will want to take advantage. If your country is porous and thousands of jobless people from my country can go to your country and come back home as multimillionaires, I'm going to want to encourage you to be so foolish. I'm not going to tell you to take care of yourself. If your resources are being stolen and being sent to my country to balance my budget, strengthen my currency, and increase my own GDP, I'm not going to be the one to tell you that you need to actually wake up and put your house in order. And if there's anyone who's trying to wake up and put your house in order, and there's another one who's allowing things to be as they've always been, the tendencies are that I would discourage the hero and encourage the villain. So it is these realizations that anyone who wants to be head of state and commander-in-chief needs to realize, and to even ask yourself in your daily decision making, whether you unwittingly can even become an enemy of your own people. And it is this that will take to your international relations. When you wake up, remember in 1975, when Murtala Mohammed decided that Nigeria had come of age, and he gave that famous speech written by President Adeniji, and Nigeria had come of age. And Nigeria will not follow just the British line, that we cannot be an independent country with enormous resources and talent, and people who look like us in South Africa will be under apartheid slavery. And Nigeria needs to do something. There was initial resistance, but they later realized that we made up our mind on this subject. And when Murtala Mohammed was assassinated, unfortunately, Olusegun Obasanjo took over. They didn't see much of a change in that. Of course, Obasanjo was less assertive than Murtala Mohammed, but the policy trust continued. People like Bolaji Akinwumi and the rest of them. And Nigeria started going all over the place. Mr. Fakora and many other people started going all over the place. Anywhere you saw Nigeria, the black people would rally around us. Any country that had any problem, rather than going to the West, they would come to us first. We started running the technical aid corps, sending people. We were producing chief judges from Botswana or many countries. They showed leadership. So they didn't bomb us or kill us off. They realized, well, these people are woken up. Let's respect them. So it's just the same way, like you are going on your father's house. He expects you to follow him to his workplace, to obey all his rules. But the day you say, oh, me, I need to go my own way, he will resist you a bit. But if he sees that you can take care of yourself, and you are responsible, and you can pay the price of adulthood, he will later be proud of you. So if Nigeria had, in spite of the global expectation that we should be perpetually subjugated, if Nigeria has shown leadership, the United Kingdom and Europe will treat us now the way they treat Canada. The United States had to fight Britain to get independence, and thousands were killed. And they were all white people, so you cannot say it's a racism. No. No power allows another power to rise. And when America fought and fought and fought, they got their independence from the United Kingdom. Right now, they always say that the closest country in the world, they have a special relationship. If that special relationship is earned by you showing that on the international stage. But if your ambassadors are looking for 7-star hotel to sleep, you cannot pay your rent. If you rent, Nigerian missions abroad rent accommodation they don't pay. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, Nigerian ambassador to Spain is embarrassing Nigeria there because he's not following diplomatic rules. He's trying to use his private vehicle to go to the country without paying import duty as the ambassadorial card. They're not going to, Spain will not allow that. I have friends who are ambassadors. They go, Even many of the students, many of our own diplomats cannot pay their children's school fees. In Russia, the other time we couldn't pay rent for a long time. So many other things we could not do. So if you go like that, and even Nigerians who are overseas, we have a very large diaspora that we can cultivate, become second largest contributor to our economy. We are not able to cultivate them. I've had to take my children to go and get Nigerian passport in the mission. It's terrible. And that's happening to me. So imagine what will happen to other people. So if we cannot serve our own, give consular support to our own citizens, because even the consular officer himself is cast adrift from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And from what I have heard recently, even the Minister of Foreign Affairs does not have direct access to the President. So some people are blocking. So in that level of unseriousness, what do you expect to come out of it? So you need to understand the international space. After all, Nigerians were involved in international encounters. I'm a member of many international professional bodies, and they give us our respect. They don't say, oh, because you're Nigerians, you can't come here. In every profession in this world, Nigerians have reached the height. So it's not that there's, as a people, that the international community has no respect for us. It is that the way we package and present ourselves shows that we don't have a government at home. And it will be an irony, a very rich irony indeed, for you not to have a government at home, and expect that you're going to have a government on the international scene. It makes no sense to expect that. So we need to put our house in order first, and then that one will follow.
So our government the style of our government is so expensive at the expense of taxpayers.
Yes.
If you get it, will you change it, will you trim it, or will you do different?
Our government is not expensive. Our politicians are. Because the services we render to the people are not enough. If a Nigerian is hungry, there is no government program for that. If you go to Europe, the hunger in your stomach is the responsibility of the government. Even government officials, when they are sick, when you go to federal medical center, they give you a few things. If your sickness becomes more serious, even a federal civil servant will leave the government and start begging on the street, begging the family members. So our government is not expensive. Our politicians are. And the politicians have connived with the top civil servants. So the permanent secretary in the ministry and the clerk are not serving the same government. They are not under the same government. Because the other one is able to take a lot of money and take care of himself and his family. But the one who is at the gate, opening the door for you, is at the mercy of God. So it is not the case that our government is expensive. It is that our people in government are expensive for us. So what is the salary of the president? The salary of our president is normal. It's not that much. But the wastage in the State House, and that is not, if you go to the villa now, it doesn't look like a special place. There are places there that are in disrepair. If you go to State House clinic, which is to serve the first family, it's as bad as any other hospital. I'm not the only one seeing it. So as the first lady, she had to sneak out and go to Dubai or so recently to take care of herself. Even the president himself does not believe in Nigerian hospital, doesn't believe in State House clinic. So how can you say the government is expensive? It is the state that's expensive. So it is like you send money to your cousin and he collects billions from you and to build a 2-bedroom flat. Are you saying the house is expensive? No, it is the robbery that you don't know that is expensive. So let us be clear where the problem lies. But I'm in government, the government budget will be bigger. But the money will go to the people. Because Nigeria is under budget. This year's budget, it approximates about $40 billion. There's no way you can answer Nigerian needs for that. Nigeria's budget, to be able to take care of our need, needs to go as high as between $280 billion and $350 billion. That's when you can do the roads, you can take care of the universities. The universities now are a ghost of what they are supposed to be. You can pay teachers very well. The government is lying. The government is lying and the workers are lying to the government. There's no way you can pay me a salary which is less than my transport fare. come to work. There's no way you can pay me a salary which cannot pay the school fee of one child when I have 4. There's no way you can pay me a salary that is equivalent to 1 bag of rice. So if a civil servant said, I only want to eat 1 bag of rice only, he has no money to buy water, no money to buy gas to boil it, or firewood. So it's all nice. So when I come in, all of that will change. The budget will be bigger, significantly bigger, because the monies are in the hands of people.
Lastly, sir, what kind of leaders would you advise Nigerians to look out for?
Nigerians should first know that whatever you do by the demographic algorithm of nature, your leaders will look like you. And in a representative democracy, when you are the one choosing the leaders, you have no excuse to blame leaders when you are the one choosing them. So what you should do is ask yourself the first question: am I a good citizen? Do I want the best for my country? And do I want the best for my children and grandchildren? And if so, who among these people around is likely to represent what I want? And even if that person is not already an aspirant, go and look for that person. Put your resources together and ask the person to run. But if you are going to be choosing leaders that look like you because you are not patriotic yourself, you are selfish, you don't care about the country, then you cannot complain later and your leader is thinking the way you are thinking. Because if you break one law in your small life, those who are in charge will break big laws. If you steal a little, those who have opportunity to steal more will steal more. So what you need to know is that in this country now, bad leadership has become a nightmare. And the followership doesn't have any guidance. So if the leaders have missed their way, what you should do is that the followers will now have to constitute a new leadership. But to do that, you first have to admit that Muhammadu Buhari is not the cause of Nigerian problem. Because before he came, we had problems. And we thought it was Jonathan that was the problem. Before Jonathan came, we had even bad government. What you need to now understand is that you need to reflect and say, do we know the nature of nationhood? A nation is a result of the collective effort of its citizens. And if we are contributing sabotage, they make roads, we go and dig holes in the road. They put railings,